Oh my god, I'm so tired, I can't even think. Hello, it's me, Tegan, and I am back this week with Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. Nicole and I decided to read this together this week after watching the trailer for the film. We wanted to make sure that we read it before we saw the movie. It is contemporary, and I don't know about Nicole, but I'm not really usually into contemporary, but this was an exception. It was published in 2012. It's a New York Times bestseller, and like I said, it's going to be made into a film really soon, which is awesome. I think it comes out this summer. So a little bit of background before we get into the grading. The main character is Louisa Clark. She has recently lost her job at this cafe where she was just incredibly comfortable living her life day after day, just doing that, not really branching out very far. She lives at home and helps support her parents and her sister's child, and she's got a steady boyfriend named Patrick, or the Runner, who is extraordinarily self-obsessed. He's a personal trainer, and he's working toward competing in this polar triathlon. That's pretty much all he ever talks about or like has time to think about. When the cafe closes unexpectedly, Louise is in desperate search for a job because so many people depend on her. She tries out various positions and fails. She ends up eventually answering a call for a caretaker position for a young gentleman named Will Trainer, who has recently become a quadriplegic after a motorbike accident. He treats Louisa like she's a moron, but her inability to treat him like a helpless child the way most of the rest of his family does kind of creates a shift in his attitude and his mood, and they become unexpected friends. He decides that she needs to stop being okay with simply existing and needs to begin living and really experiencing the world around her. That's where I'm gonna stop because I don't want to get into spoilers, and I feel like going too much further will get into them. But I will warn you that you're gonna need tissues on hand. This book kind of destroyed me for a few days. It was really rough. It's been a couple weeks since I've read it because I just needed time to think about it. There were really lots of hard decisions made in the story, and it was just really heart-wrenching sometimes, but it was really, really good. So with that, I'm gonna get into the grading. Readability, I gave it a 5 out of 5 because I was able to just sit down and read it. I think I read it in 2 sittings only because I had to get up early and I couldn't stay up reading all night, unfortunately. It was easy to read. Louisa was a really cool narrator. For character development, I gave it a 5 out of 5 as well because I feel like Louisa, you really watch her grow through the story. And not all of the characters grow. I mean, there are some flat, static characters, but for Louisa and Will, I feel like they both really grow, and it's like an exponential growth from start to finish. There were a few characters that kind of drove me crazy. I felt like Louisa's family was a little bit abrasive, and I think that there were maybe reasons for that. Maybe like jealousy and guilt played into those, but it was, I don't know, I just kind of wanted to smack them all sometimes because I felt like they were being really ungrateful sometimes, but you can't always love all the characters. It just doesn't happen. For plot, I gave it a 5 out of 5. I had hopes for what I thought was going to happen, but then when I looked closer at the cover and saw what the sequel was called, it was kind of a dead giveaway about what was gonna happen. I think it was like a false hope for me that everything was gonna turn out like just fine and dandy. But that's okay. It was really wrenching. The cover art is pretty cute. I like the font. I like the red. I gave it a 4 out of 5 just because it's font and red. And I mean, I don't really know what else I would want on here, but I've never picked it up before. I guess that's why I'm giving it a 4 instead of a 5, because I've walked past this book a million times and I've never picked it up. But it is pretty. I mean, I can stare at it for a long time. It didn't make me want to pick it up and look through it. The only reason I picked it up was because I saw the trailer, so 4 out of 5. For writing, structure, and style, I give it a 5 out of 5. I thought it was really clever. It's told in Louisa's point of view for the most part, and she's just great and bubbly and eccentric and just brilliant in her own way. Just really refreshing character, and that played into it, and I love her. I loved it. And then for enjoyment, the biggest prize, I give it a 5 out of 5. I loved this book. It made me cry a lot, so I was really upset about it at first. I was really upset because I had seen so many people say, read this book, and I didn't know how hard it was going to be to read it because I didn't really understand what it was about. And now I do, and it was sad, but it was great, and I would recommend it to anybody. Even if you don't particularly like contemporary, I would give it a shot because I'm not a contemporary person, and I loved it. Anyway, I'll see you next week, and if you have any suggestions for things to read, as always, comment down below. Let us know, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.